The impression the game you get out with what you put into. It's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
But not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word go today. No more about it. They made all the running, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We have a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.
Hello, and you're very welcome to another episode of Treaty Talk with myself, Tom Clancy, and I'm joined as ever by Matt O'Callaghan on this cold winter's evening. Matt, we are now at the very business end of the championships across Limerick and indeed the provinces. We're down to just under 21 hurling and football at a domestic level. We have concluded all the adult championships within Limerick and the weekend just gone. And we're now into Munster club action. But we'll start, Matt, with Munster Senior Football Championship quarter-final this year. It was Newcastle West against Clonmel Commercials in Thurles. Disappointment, Matt, for Newcastle West, having secured the 3 in a row only a week earlier. That they were unfortunately undone by what is a strong Clonmel Commercial side, and I suppose a slow start costing Newcastle West there. But there's no Munster dream. The Munster dream is over for 2023. So disappointing end of the year for Newcastle West.
A disappointing end to the year, Tom, but it was a very, very funny game. And of course, Newcastle West suffered a huge blow before the game in that Ian Corbett failed to make it. You know, the injury that he picked up in the county final ruled him out. Thomas Quilligan didn't start either, although he did come on. But it was a funny game, and Newcastle West had the aid of the breeze, and it was just sort of a freeze. I'm not so sure it was a breeze that that impacted that much on the game, but their pre-match woes were confounded within 2 minutes of the restart when Shawnee O'Connor he got past 2 or 3 defenders and put the ball wide of Michael Quilligan into the net, and it was the ideal start. And Coleman Kennedy added a point in the 6th minute, and it was 1-1 to no score. And you were saying to yourself, by golly, this is going to be a long afternoon for Newcastle West in Mid-Tipperary. But it didn't transpire like that. Newcastle West sort of began to come out of their shell, become more adventurous, take the game to Clonmel Commercials, who really sat back, Tom. At one stage, it was a brief cameo. There was no Clonmel player in the Newcastle West half of the pitch. Now it looked as if the attitude was, after going 1-1 to no score up, we hold what we have, kind of thing. Getting back in numbers, and Newcastle West attacked incessantly, and they just couldn't find a way through a packed defence. Absolutely packed. There was sort of almost 3 lines of defenders there all the time. And like Clonmel Commercial scored their first point in the 26th or in the 6th minute. They didn't score again, Tom, a score or a flag of either hue until the 31st minute. That was 26 minutes without a score. In the meantime, Newcastle West had tacked on 3 points, and just before half-time, Kevin Fahey, the inter-county player, they sort of went forward in a rare foray, and he kicked the point, 1, 2 to 3 points at half-time. But Newcastle West were facing the breeze in the second half, and but they sort of stayed in touch. And by the 55th minute, there was only a goal in it, and Newcastle West had a chance at 1-1, but Ethan Hurley's effort was blocked and turned over. And Peter McGarry, he ran the length of the field, and a contender for goal of the year. A fine individual effort and steered the ball past Michael Quilligan. 2 goals, and that really shut the door on Newcastle West. A disappointing way for Newcastle West to go out. They certainly were plucky. They were brave. But of course, I would imagine that Clonmel commercials had it uppermost in their mind what happened to them when they met Newcastle West last year in the semi-final. And of course, it was a much changed Newcastle West team because like Ian Corbett, Thomas Quilligan were out, you had Cian Sheehan, who was abroad, Shane Stack, Todd Donovan, Owen Murphy. There was a list of them of changes from this time 12 months. But it was overall a very poor game, Tom. But I would definitely say, as a Limerick man, I was proud of the performance that Newcastle West put up in the circumstances. And they left with their heads held high. But, it is a game that it's very easy to forget. The quality of football was poor. You can imagine with 15 players behind the ball, what type of a game that gives you, But sort of, Newcastle West did something similar to Monaleen probably in the Limerick semi-final. But it doesn't make for good football, and it's certainly something that the purists wouldn't like anyway. It was a poor game, a disappointing way for Newcastle West to go out. But the men that went out to represent Newcastle West did themselves, their club, and our county proud.
Yeah, I think that's a fair way of putting it, Matt. And I didn't see the game myself, but the low scoring would suggest, an overall cagey affair. And maybe Clonmel had learned a lesson or two from the free-flowing nature that some of the scorers in particular Newcastle West got last year. So, as you say, a disappointing way for their year to end. But Matt, as well, just to finally touch on it, I mean, you mentioned names there in Newcastle West Arsenal that were missing in terms of Ian Corbett, even AJ O'Connor. These guys have been game changers. He's
another one, and Michael Crimmon is another one,
Yeah, they've been game changers down the year. But the Achilles heel in this game, Matt, is the concession of a goal. Newcastle West, I think, had gone 5 games in the Limerick Championship in a row without conceding. To concede an early goal probably felt like they were chasing the game from a long way out. Now, I know you said they were always within touching distance, but Newcastle West are extremely good front runners, as we know. We haven't seen them too often in Limerick have to chase, but something they had to do here. And maybe just not uncharted territory, but it's just something they're not as accustomed to as they'd like to be, how to recover a deficit in what it was a low scoring game. So just something maybe Newcastle West weren't used to, being playing without Ian Corbett, concede a goal after a minute and be under the cosh.
Yeah, well, I could have seen a situation, had Ian Corbett been there and in the situation, with the packed Clonmel Commercials defence, if there was one player you wanted to upset that and possibly break through it, Ian Corbett was the man. With the power and those searing runs that he does, he was sadly missed now. Look, you cannot afford to lose a player of, an all-star nominee of his calibre. And in a turnover from last year, you were down 2 all-star nominees when you were down Cian Sheehan as well, And you mentioned AJ O'Connor. He was a match winner 3 years ago, wasn't it? And Michael Crimmon, who was playing very well during the year, got a knock against in the county semi-final, I think, and didn't recover. And but Michael O'Leary came in, and I have to say I was very impressed with Michael O'Leary. He played very, very well, which, it gives you a sense that there is strength and depth in Newcastle West because, they were beaten 2-7 to 6 points. I'm very doubtful. I can reconcile in my mind that it was a 7 points game. I think it's a slight injustice to Newcastle West. I'm not arguing for 1 minute the better team won, Tom. But I don't think they were 7 points better than Newcastle West. If you factor in a goal for the ages from Peter McGarry, and if you factor in a goal after 2 minutes,
even the goal, even the first goal is a great goal as well.
It was, disappointing. As I said, disappointing way to go out for Newcastle West. But I think in defeat, I think they did themselves and the county proud.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we'll move along from there, but credit to Jimmy Lee and his charges. A quick turnaround from the county final, and Clonmel, I suppose, that build up to this for a little while. And Jimmy, in his post-match comments at the county final, alluding that perhaps he may not let go of the reins at Newcastle West just yet. So we'll have to watch that space as we go. Matt, domestically, there was 3 finals.
Yeah, but there's just another point that you mentioned there. Newcastle West had a 7-day turnaround. Clonmel Commercials had 21. Now, there might have been a slight warning in the Tipperary County final, in that on that day, Clonmel Commercial scored 6-7 in the county final. And 3 of those goals came in the full forward line. Now, Shawnee O'Connor, who got the first goal, he got 2 in the county final. So, there was goal threat there. But Newcastle West coped with it very, very well, except in those opening 2 minutes. And there was very little anyone could do to stop the Peter McGarry goal. It was one of those, a goal for the ages. Yeah,
absolutely. Matt, turning to the, I suppose, action within the county, there was 2 football finals and a hurling final over the weekend. We'll come to the hurling in a minute, but just to stay on the football, the Premier Junior A, it's of course the 3rd tier final, the deferred final from the previous week. Newcastle West second team getting the better of Fina in Atay. Great to see Atay used for a county final, a venue that maybe because of its its geographical location probably doesn't get used so much, but by all accounts a superb venue for a game like this. Matt, Newcastle West by all accounts just seemed to do enough, just used their bit of experience. Stephen Kelly, I saw Ian Corbett joking online, or not joking, but pointing out on Twitter, Stephen Kelly has now annexed as a player, not to mind the coach, he's as a player has won the junior, the intermediate and senior county titles in Limerick. That is some feat for a player that we had seen so often down the year in the Green of Limerick and so often at Senior Everybody's Club. There's no stopping this man, is there?
No. You know, my position on Stephen Kelly is very, 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 very clear for anyone that has been listening. I'm a huge fan of the guy, absolutely huge fan, and you know, I'm delighted for him, and absolutely delighted the day he won his first county senior medal, which was fantastic, you know, and it was fantastic altogether for Newcastle West, and it sort of touches on what I've said there, about the strength and depth that they have. Now they're going to have a senior team next year, and they're going to have an intermediate team, which is really, really good backup now coming, you know, as they will go for, dare I say it, for 4 in a row. But you have to spare up for Fina Kilmeady, Tom, and the manner in which they lost the county hurling final to Mungret St. Paul's, which went to penalties, and now to lose a second final. It is very, very, very difficult, and there have been a big crossover of players, and you just wonder about their mindset now going into on successive weekends. They're going to be involved in the Munster Championship when we'll be talking about it in a minute. They're going to Clare this coming weekend, and the following weekend I think they're entertaining Kilmurray from Cork in the junior football semi-final.
They're actually away, man. They have to go away to Cork for that as well. So
have they to go away to Cork?
Yeah, it's Cork venue. So they're in Clare this week and Cork then on the 25th. So
my apologies. You're actually right, because I was just talking to somebody in Thurles on Sunday. We were just talking about it, and wondering where Kilmurray is, you know, and you know, it's a nice trip from Fina to Kilmurray, I can tell you that.
A bit of a spin ahead of him, but can they pick themselves up, Matt, is the thing, you know, that's the hurling this weekend. Can they pick themselves up?
I'll be talking about it again now in a few minutes when we're talking about the hurling, you know. You know, it is an opportunity. Look, it is what it is, you know, and they've just got to dust themselves down and go again, you know, and there are still prizes to play for, and we just wait and see it, Tom. As I say, we'll be discussing it later, but for the moment anyway, you know, congratulations to Newcastle West. Hard luck to Fina Kilmeady, and I know it might sound a bit hollow, but you know, well done on a very, very good season. I'll tell you, it takes a special group of players, and you know, and a special club to reach 2 finals, you know, two junior finals, I think Hospital Herberstown may be the only club that won the two in the 1 year. So, you know, they were on the threshold of emulating that possibly, but, you know, but a lot will hinge on how they pick themselves up from the loss of the hurling final.
Yeah, and finally, Matt, just one quick one on that. The result of that game, of course, you mentioned Newcastle West up intermediate. Now, we've seen in recent years, we've seen Monaleen go up to intermediate with their second team. We've seen Father Casey's go up with their second team, and it hasn't worked out. Will Newcastle West be different? Will they be competitive? Will they be able to field? You know, I'd hope they are, but what's your sense of it at this early juncture?
I think they will. I think my sense about the structure has been well noted. I've spoken about it ad nauseum over the last 2 years, because we had the situation with Napiershik last year getting 2 walkovers in the group stages, and we had Mungret, you know, getting a walkover in the group stages this year, and you had Galbally getting 2 walkovers in the group stages this year in the Intermediate Football Championship. Intermediate Football Championship has status, Tom, you know, that there should be no question at all. There should be no walkovers, because those that are involved in the Intermediate Football Championship have come through the different levels for the most part and qualified to be there. So it is hugely disappointing for the last 2 seasons. Like we had Bruff last year pulling out after 2 games. I think with Father Casey's pulling out this year after 3 games. Then your Castleman giving a walkover to Galbally, Glen giving a walkover to Mungret St. Paul's. Yeah. From a Limerick football perspective, Tom, the optics are all wrong, you know. And even I was talking to some members of the football board over the weekend, both in Thurles and in Ballygran on Saturday, and you know, I was emphasising that, you know, we cannot have more of the same. Doing nothing about this, Tom, is not an option on this occasion. Like we've had 2 years. I'm loath to say that 'tis mayhem, but like it is considerable. It is considerable. You know, interruption to the good running of the championship. Like nobody. First of all, no club wants to give a walkover, and on the other side, no club wants to receive a walkover. Like,
no one any good.
We had a similar situation in the Junior Football Championship. Como Grovers contested the county Junior Football Championship final, and they too were there on merit. But like they didn't get a fair whack or a fair crack of the whip in the group stages, where they got 2 walkovers done.
Yeah.
You know, like I honestly think that there has, in answer to your question, and I know it's a long answer I've given you, but getting back to your point about Newcastle West, I feel Newcastle West, as of now, are well equipped, because the players that we mentioned, I understand Todd Donovan is closing in on a return. He was injured and could possibly feature in the under-21 championships. You know, so, you know, the possibility is that Newcastle West will have players coming back. Now, there's also a possibility that there'll be further exits. If Jimmy Lee, you know, gives up, you know, there's some of them have been around a long time. Will they say to themselves, we have 3 county medals, 4 county medals, some of them 5 county medals. You know, have we enough of it? You know, there are so many variables that, but as we speak now, Tom, I'm convinced that Newcastle West are capable of, you know, fielding senior and intermediate teams.
Yeah, well, we'll wait and see on that one. But
you know, when you look at it,
well equipped for it.
When you look at it, Tom, you need, and I've hammered this now with the last couple of weeks, because I have the utmost admiration for it. When you look at the Mungret St. Paul's model, you know, the way that they had their intermediate team, the way that they had their junior team, and how successful that was.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, we'll see how they go. But again, congratulations to Newcastle West, another county title. They were waiting long enough for one, it felt like, in football, and then they get 3 in a row, senior level, and now 2 in the 1 year. at other levels. So they go from strength to strength. Matt, you did mention a place there, Ballygran. It was the venue Saturday afternoon for Ballylanders and Brewery, a repeat of the South County final. You're already grinning, Matt, because you're all boys there in Ballylanders. They got over the line just against Brewery, sorry, and they are the Junior B football champions for 2023.
Yeah, they are, and congratulations to Bally. I was absolutely delighted. Everybody knows where my bias is in that regard. But look, they probably deserved it because both sides had periods of domination, and it was Ballylanders who made their periods of domination count on the scoreboard. Like they were absolutely in the first 10 minutes of each half, Tom. They were blitzed by Brewery, and Brewery scored 2 points in the first 10 minutes, and in the 10 minutes after half time, they didn't score at all, even having the wind. So, when Brewery will look back on that, they will see. But Ballylanders got they got a 5-minute spell playing into the wind in the second half, and they were up at half time by a goal, and they got, as I said, they got a 5-minute spell. They scored a goal and 2 points against the Breeze. And got 4 points at halftime. And that put them, and that spell was from the 39th to the 44th minute. And that put them 9 points up. And you were saying to yourself, gosh, Bally are home and host, what they were worrying about, losing to Brewery for a second time, having lost by a point in the South, the South final. But nobody told Andrew Sexton and Brewery what the plan was, So like Jimmy O'Dea got a goal, and Patrick Lynch got a point before it, but Jimmy O'Dea got a goal, and that unleashed a new belief in Brewery, and they had closed the gap to say 2 points, 2-7 to 1-9 in injury time when they were awarded a penalty. Now, Kieran O'Dea was the man that was pulled down. He had gone in full forward. He was causing an awful lot of trouble to the Ballylanders defence. And Matt O'Callaghan brilliantly saved the penalty. There was nothing wrong with the penalty kick. Patrick Lynch directed it for the left corner, but Matt O'Callaghan made an absolutely, no relation by the way, made an absolutely splendid save. And, that proved the difference in the end. But I would say overall, if you were to make a judgment, Bally were that little bit better. And they were, as I said, for the reason why they were that little bit better is when on top, they were able to make it, they were able to reflect it on the scoreboard better. Because Brewery had 2 huge periods of dominance, the first 10 minutes and the first 10 minutes after halftime. And all they had to show for that 20 minutes of dominance was 2 points.
Yeah, not enough.
So, but when Bally, when they got their tails up, they went about the job and really got it done. They got 2 good goals, by the way, Tom. 2 very good goals, in my view. Killian Lane got the first one. It was a good move by by a couple of players. Dylan Noonan was the man that picked him out, and he finished it to the net. And then the second goal was scored by Phil Sullivan, who was fine, excellent in individual goal. He veered in from the left and from a very, very tight angle, put it into the corner of the net. So, I think Bally just about shaded it. Brewery, disappointed, to lose it. Had the opportunity to win it, didn't take it. Best of luck to Ballylanders. They go through now to the Munster Clubs Championship
Series, yeah.
in Knockadary. I think it may not be played until January, going by last year, I think, anyway. But or maybe some of it will be played before Christmas. But they're looking forward to that. Hard luck to Brewery, because Brewery is a football entity, Tom, as I mentioned last week, really only came together after the hurling championship. And certainly from a football point of view, they were going in the right direction. Now, talking about the game itself, Tom, and I leave it with this final point. I made the point that Newcastle West and Clonmel Commercials was a very, very poor game. This was the opposite. This was a very good game of football. And I'll tell you, if you just walked in off the street, you would have difficulty in believing that it was of Junior B standard.
Well, that's a positive note to finish on in terms of the football championships in Limerick. So, as I say, well done to Ballylanders. There's their second team. They can indeed represent Limerick in the Munster series, which I suppose just has a slight deviation. It's the same in hurling. We'll turn to hurling now, and representing Limerick in the Munster Junior B series, which is also held in Limerick, will be Monalean's second team. They defeated Ballybrown in the Junior B final held in Cappamore 213 to 115. Matt, I was at this one now at the same time as you were out in the other one. This was effectively a 1 point hammering. Ballybrown had a chance to win this with the very last attack of the game. David Hall, who was celebrating his 30th birthday on the day, he collected the ball going away from goal, albeit collected the ball and fired over when, if it had gone under, Ballybrown would have turned a 5 point deficit deep in stoppage time into a 1 point win. But in fairness, only deserving winners. They had goals from, Dylan Crowe with 1-2. Ben Hayes came in off the bench and immediately got a goal. 2 goals from long deliveries, and Spearman collecting the balls and rifling them to the net. Max Ivory was accurate from frees as well. But just to mention, Matt, I'm not sure of his age, and we don't like to be pointing out fellas' ages here, but Damien Cosgrove has been a great servant to Monaleen down the years. I'm sure many people will be scratching their heads to say, where do I know that name from? Involved in Limerick panels in the mid-2000s. I think 2008 was the last time he was involved in a Limerick panel. Here he is, captain in his club from full back to a county title. And Matt, he didn't look a bit out of place. He really marshalled that full back line well, and I'm sure you'll know the name as well down the years. But it's superb to see these guys still turning out for their club, no matter what the grade, no matter what the cause. Damien is one of those who I'm sure will go on and on and on, it seems, forever for his club.
Oh yeah, now you have the advantage of I haven't seen the game, nor I didn't see I didn't see footage of the game either. But you talk about Damien Cosgrave, like what a phenomenal servant Damien Cosgrave has been to Monaleen. And I think you were mentioning 2008 there. I think his career spans back much further than that. Way back further. I think it could be.
I think he would have
1990s, I would imagine.
Yeah, I think he is an intermediate medal in the 90s.
Like him, what an inspiration somebody like him is. For I suppose for young players, as a player first of all, but as a guy, as a man, that if you mind yourself and if you do the right things, what you can do, but he has been an inspiration to Monaleen hurling for God knows, I have to scratch my head and think how long, but it's quite a while now. And congratulations to him on captaining the team to win the Junior B, and make sure you can be sure, Tom, that he will lead him out for Junior A in the coming year.
Yeah, he will. I think I have it in the back of my head. I think Monaleen won the intermediate title in Limerick in around about 1998. As far as I know, he was involved playing in it, and that's it. So that's 25 years. That's older than, I'd say, the majority of his teammates. A lot of his teammates on Saturday would have been born in the early 2000s. So he's been playing adult hurling longer than they've been alive. So congratulations to Damien and co. And I mentioned to some good performances there. Noel Clancy, Harry Gleeson chipping in with a couple of scores. And they'd Mercer Dalek, who's younger brother of the Dalek with the Limerick Hurlers. First name has escaped me, but he was in goal as well and was only beaten by a late free. So Monaleen will march on into the Munster Junior B series. And
you're after mentioning a couple of guys there, Tom. You're after mentioning a couple of guys there now who are on the verge of making the Monaleen senior team. Have been there or there about the panel, like you mentioned. Noel Clancy, he's one of them. Ben Hayes is another, and I saw Max Ivory playing last year. He's quite a good, promising player. So the Monaleen are in a situation now where they're going to have considerable backup for their senior team. Now they're going to be faced with juggling between senior hurling and junior A. you know.
Yeah.
But, you know, there's no other place they'd want to be. You know, it represents progress for Monaghan. So, yeah, you know, it definitely, Monaghan are an emerging hurling force in our county. And you heard it here first.
Definitely, yeah. So that's their third win at that grade as well, 2002, 2015, and now 2023 for them. And they'll go into Munster, and as they looking to replicate the exploits of Bruff, who won that Munster Championship last year and went on to the All-Ireland final from there. Matt, looking ahead to the weekend now, since we've reviewed, we might as well preview the Piercig and Ballygunner. Ballygunner is top billing. We have two recent All-Ireland club winners, two of Munster's most consistent clubs, I think it's fair to say, two juggernauts littered with stars, and they're all heading to the Gaelic grounds for a 4 p.m. throw-in this Sunday. It's a repeat of the game last year, which was also at the same venue, and it was Ballygunner, by virtue of a second half display, of dominant second half display, got the better of Na Piarsaigh. So what's going to be different this time if Na Piarsaigh are going to beat, I suppose, one of the favourites for the All-Ireland Championship?
Yeah, Ballygunner, I suppose I saw some lists there have been already installed as favourites for the All-Ireland Championship, and that's fine, you know, but you know, this is the sixth time that they have met in the championship. It's unbelievable the way they keep bumping into each other. I think it's the third time they've met in the earlier rounds, and they have won one game each in that, and they've met three times in the final, and Na Piarsaigh have won two of them, and Ballygunner have won one. Na Piarsaigh in 2015, 2017, Ballygunner in 2018. So, yeah, there's never much between it. In the first half last year, by half time, it looked as if there was only going to be one winner. Na Piarsaigh were well on top. And I'm convinced Shane O'Neill is back as manager of Na Piarsaigh, Tom. And I'm convinced anyway. I saw him a couple of times this year, but I'm convinced we haven't seen Na Piarsaigh at their best yet. Now, they got a fright against Doon, you know, but you would have to say they were very comfortable winners in the county final.
Yeah.
Now, Ballygunner will have the advantage of having played a match in the Munster Championship when they come to Limerick on Sunday. They beat Sarsfields in the first round below in Walsh Park, and beat them very, very comfortably. Sorry?
I was just saying it wasn't much of a match, Matt. They won 220 to 9 points, I suppose it just...
No, it was very poor, Tom. You know, that's a kind of a...
But that's more of a reflection on Sarsfields.
Yeah, you know, and Sarsfields had, you know, thought they had won a good Cork Championship, you know, and it isn't easy win the Cork Championship, but the Cork clubs don't seem to, you know, put up much of a show in the Munster Championship in recent years. But I think, you know, the return of William O'Donoghue is a massive boost in the Piarsaigh. The addition of Shane Dowling is a big, big asset. You know, what Shane Dowling brings, all right, you can say what can a goalkeeper bring, but he brings an awful lot of pins of the field with Shane Dowling. And, you know, there will be that, you know, that desire in the Piarsaigh, you know, that they have to end the run against Ballygunner, that it is their turn. As I said, I don't think we've seen the best of Na Piarsaigh this year because we didn't have to. Now, they lost the first round to Patrickswell. They got that close call from June when they had to rely on penalties. But I thought they were impressive winners of the county final, Tom, without reaching their full potential. And you mentioned there at the start that it's a game littered with stars. And you know, it's a stellar cast in the Gaelic grounds. Like if you look at Na Piarsaigh, Shilling, Mikey Casey, Ken Downs, Peter Casey, Ronan Lynch, Dahi Dempsey, you know, the list just goes on, you know, and over on the other side you have Stephen O'Keefe, an all-star goalkeeper, Ian Kenny, Barry Coughlin, Pádraig Mahoney, Philip Mahoney, Desi Hutchinson, Peter Hogan, Paddy Levy, you know. you could go on and on. Like, the stage is set for a massive game. And I believe that there is an extra notch in the Piercing. And if we can see it on Sunday, I believe they have a right good chance of overturning Ballygunner.
Yeah, as do I. And I think the key to it could indeed be Liam O'Donoghue, who we saw what himself and Mike Casey as a kind of combination did to shut down Aaron Gallan. I think they'll have a similar task with Desi Hutchinson. And I know they're not similar players, but they're clear marksmen for their team. And look, I don't think the Piercing will allow Ballygunner throw the ball around like they did against Sarsfield. It was like training ground stuff, and look, they can only beat what's in front of them, but it was far too easy. And I don't think the Piercing, in effectively their own backyard, coming all the way over to the north side of the city will allow Ballygunner do that to them. And I think, what better motivation than decide who ended your dreams last year than the same fixture, coming back again to fix it. So, Matt, we mentioned that's 4 p.m. on Sunday. It's live on TG Car.
Yeah, but you're right there. Like, you wonder, and you say, and you always think when some club is coming in with the advantage of a game under their belts in the competition, that it is an advantage. I'm not so sure how big an advantage this one is to Ballygunner. They were at home, and it was basically a no-show performance by Sarsfields.
Yeah.
And they were allowed to spread the ball around. I was watching it, and it was pathetic to see the fragility of Sarsfield's resistance at times. Like, you're right, it was nothing more than a training ground romp. Nothing. No intensity, nothing. That's not going to happen on Sunday.
No.
I have a sense there's an extra gear in the Piercing, and I have a sense that they're sort of waiting in the long grass for Ballygunner, and that if they can bring it out on Sunday, I think they're capable of toppling Ballygunner.
Okay, well, we're just looking down the grades now, Matt, as well. Earlier on Sunday in Corofin in County Clare, Drummond at Lacca make the venture into Munster club action against Corofin. So Corofin bringing this to their home ground as it stands anyway, unless the weather takes care of that. But it looks like Corofin will host Drummond at Lacca. It's bonus territory, Matt, normally for the team that wins the intermediate championship. But what we saw last year with Mona Lean, they got over, I think it was at Dora Bearfield in Kilmallock, and then they went on from there. They won the Munster title. They went on then, beat Roscrea. That's it. Yeah, won the Munster title. Went on then beat Bray Emmets, wasn't it, in the All Ireland semi final, and then beat Toreen of Mayo in the final. So, like, 4 wins, and you're the kings of the country. It's easier said than done to pick up 4 wins, but I think the time frame that Drummond at Lacca have had since the county final will be ideal. They'll get a little bit more fitness into Cian Scully. They'll get a little bit more rest and recovery into their older charges. They'll have enjoyed the celebrations, and now they can turn around and say there's no reason why we can't go to Corofin and get over the line and into a Munster decider.
No, and interestingly, it's their 4th time being involved in the Munster Intermediate Championship. And on 2 of the 3 previous occasions, was it 2007 and 2009, they got to the finals. And they lost to Bala, I think, by a point or 2 in 2013 in Brough. But Drummond at Lacca are in a very good place, as you rightly say. They've got game time into Cian Scully. He's got 2 or 3 or 4 weeks even to recover since. Corofin haven't been in the Munster Championship before, but they had a very, very impressive win over Laura Dora in the first round in McDonough Park in Nina.
That's a good away win, in fairness.
The Tipperary champions, because of a restructuring in the championship in Tipperary, are formidable, as we saw last year when Monleen were pushed all the way to beat Roscrea in the Munster final. But this is new territory for Corofin. Their only experience of this level of competition before has has been their first round game with Laura. So because they won the county championship in Clare this year for a third time and a first time since 2002. So they wouldn't be that experienced at this level, but they obviously have, they've obviously a quality side. And what I was told about them is that they have a very, very even side. Now, Dermot Duggan got 3 goals in the win over Laura in the quarter final.
Dermot Cahill, is it? Dermot Cahill?
Dermot Cahill. My apologies. Dermot Cahill.
You got 3-2, yeah. Again, 3-2 in that win, yeah.
And he certainly will be somebody to watch. But, you must remember that he, up along, Drummond and Clacker have met players of that caliber, say, and they have managed and they have coped with them and they have successfully, policed them, and they will be conscious of that. Now, it's a difficult task to go down to Corofin and beat Corofin. Call a spade a spade. Now, they also have, something in their armory that could be of big assistance to them, is that their manager is a Clare man, Ger Hickey, and has an encyclopedic knowledge of Clare hurling, as he was an All-Ireland winning minor selector with Clare this year. So there's very little that he won't know about the ins and outs of Clare hurling. So he could be a secret weapon in the Drummond and Clacker camp, but they have to go out and do it on the day. And Drummond and Clacker's chances will hinge a lot on how Corofin cope with David Reedy. And also, we've seen in the competition this year the level at which Peter Ryan has been able to impose himself in all the games through the Limerick Championship. And if they can counteract those two, it will make it difficult for Drummond and Clacker. But I'm of the belief that Drummond and Clacker are going to Corofin, Tom, with a right good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. Sunday afternoon for that one, 1:30 in Corofin. If you can't make it, it is being streamed by Munster GAA TV. So an opportunity to tune into that one before the senior one, as I mentioned already, the Pierce League in Ballygunner later in the afternoon. Matt, the day previous, it's a unique pairing in the Junior Munster Championship because I don't mean in the terms of who's playing who. They're nearly always unique or generally are at these grades. But in the fact that it's 2 teams that haven't won their county championships, Fina Kilmeedy against the Banner. This is in Cusack Park. The Banner are a club, you've Éire Óg in Ennis, but they're another club in Ennis. The Banner, I suppose, more recently formed. They have a Clare star in Shane Meehan, who almost single-handedly knocked St. Kieran's out last year in the same fixture, but St. Kieran's eventually doing it, getting over the line, I think, with an extra time point to do that one. So the Banner haven't won Clare, Fina Kilmeedy haven't won Limerick, but here they are in a Munster Junior semi-final.
Yeah, and you mentioned St. Kieran's, like they have been in the Munster Championship before in 2013 and did very, very well in it. They had victories over the Kerry and Clare champions before they lost to Ballysaggett from Waterford, who were powered by the Bennetts, Shane and Stephen Bennett and Kieran Bennett. And I think Ballysaggett went on that year to win the All-Ireland, possibly. So, Fina Kilmeedy have given a good account of themselves in the championship heretofore. Now, Banner, for the same reason that they're appearing in the championship this year, they got knocked out by Kilmaley in the quarter-final this year in Clare. They were the last junior team standing. They were the last junior team standing last year also. And when they met St. Kieran's in Cusack Park in Ennis and lost by 17 points to 16. St. Kieran's reaching the final. And Banner have played one game in the competition so far. They beat Tralee Parnells 110 to 10 points in Tralee. Shane Meehan scored 1-8.
Yeah, penalty for the difference, wasn't it?
Yeah, doesn't augur well, if you're so dependent on one player, because I have no doubt that Fina Kilmeedy will be more than conscious of the threat of Shane Meehan, and that they will have plans in place. and that they will not be upstaged by him, just like St. Kieran's to a certain degree were last year, and certainly Tralee Parnells were recently in the Munster Championship. So with that, I give St. Kieran's a decent chance. Now, we were talking earlier about, Fianna Kilmeedy a decent chance, but we're talking earlier about Fianna Kilmeedy and the fact that they lost the 2 county junior finals. An awful lot, Tom, will hinge on the mindset and, how they approach the game. That there's only one thing that they can do to ensure, that they get a maximum return on Saturday, is that they park the 2 county finals. I know it's not easy, but that's what they've got to do. This is a new competition, and they start from the beginning. But if they do that, if they can if there is no hangover from the county finals, they have a very good chance.
Yeah, I think we saw the skill level they have as well in the county final. So if they can replicate that and maybe tighten it up at the back, I think there's no reason they can't defeat Banner. The Banner. I saw the Banner last year. I was commentating on that game against St. Kieran's. St. Kieran's double marked Shane Meehan, but such is his quality, he was still able to get scores, still able to win the ball, still able to win frees. So that's the key to them. Can they limit him, and then can they get a bit of productivity at the other end? But Saturday, 1:30 p.m.
Yeah, because Fianna Kilmeedy are an even side. They're a pretty even side. Like there's 1 to 15. They are pretty even. Everybody knows their job, sort of thing. And you could see them through the championship. Like they were fancied in the junior champ right from the outset this year. After 1 or 2 games, everybody is saying, "Oh, look, Fianna Kilmeedy are really good," and that's how it transpired until the final.
That's it. Yeah, so we'll see how they go in that Munster semi-final. 1:30 p.m. from Cusack Park, live on Munster GAA TV on Saturday afternoon. Matt, switching codes now slightly anyway, at least to Camogie. We have Sarsfields of Cork. We mentioned their senior hurlers. It's our senior Camogie side that provide the opposition for Newcastle West in the Munster senior Camogie semi-final. Can Newcastle West do? I think they have knocked on the door a few times in Munster down the years, and I think COVID has stopped them in different bits and pieces. Can they get to a Munster final here? They'll be up against it. This game is on in Castle Road, which isn't a million miles from Páirc Uí Rinn in Cork, as far as I'm aware. Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Newcastle West ladies flying the flag for Limerick once again.
Yeah, Castle Road is in Blackrock, and it's the headquarters of Cork Camogie for the last number of years, and they're facing a Sarsfield team that Sarsfield's completed a senior double in Cork hurling and Camogie this year before they got thrown to the storm. Their pitch got thrown and all that sort of stuff. Whether that has impacted or interrupted their preparation, but you have to say that a team coming out of Cork are the All-Ireland champions, and they are the brand leaders when it comes to Camogie, and you would expect them to be very, very strong. Newcastle West are. I saw Newcastle in the county final this year, and I was very, very impressed with them. The only doubt I had, I think they scored 14 points in the county final. They were scored by 2 players. Rebecca DeLee got 8 points, and I think Roisin Ambrose got 6 or 9-5 or whatever it was. I think they need a greater spread of scores when they will be going down to Cork. The Cork goalkeeper would be Amy Lee, would be the best known of the Sarsfields team. It's a difficult task going to Cork anytime in Camogie, whether it be inter-county or club. But Newcastle West have built up a bit of experience in the Munster Championship, and I would be expecting that they'll give themselves they'll give a very good account of themselves. Now, we were talking about Fianna Kilmeedy being involved in the double and what have you. They were almost involved in the double as well, because so many of the Newcastle West players play ladies football with Mona Gay, and that group of players will just have to put it aside. and focus on the hurling now for this weekend. It's great to see Rebecca DeLee back, Tom. What a wonderful player. And she had a fantastic county final, which was only her third game this year since coming back from a second cruciate. And she will carry a lot of the hopes of Newcastle West now. Karen O'Leary, Debbie Murphy, all excellent players. Roisin Ambrose, the Limerick football captain, was outstanding in the county final at full forward, 5 or 6 points in play. But they need to get a greater spread of scores. And if they can do that, and in any case, I give them a decent chance. Now, Sarsfields will be favourites, especially in Castle Road.
Absolutely, yeah. So we'll see what Newcastle West can do, flying the flag for Limerick after winning the senior title a few weeks ago. Sarsfields of Cork, Castle Road on Sunday, 1:30 p.m. Matt, a day earlier, 24 hours earlier, in fact, 1:30 p.m. on Saturday, Ballyo'Gran plays host to Monaleen, and they're playing Butlerstown of Waterford. That's in the Munster Intermediate Camogie. I think it's a semi-final.
It's actually the Munster Junior, I'd say, Tom.
Junior, apologies. Yeah, Junior, and that's a semi-final as well, Matt, as far as I'm aware. Monaleen have been knocking on the door, Matt, in terms of winning the Limerick Championship. They've finally done it. So I suppose bonus territory, but we mentioned Monaleen earlier in terms of winning an All-Ireland men's intermediate title. They might take a little bit of inspiration from their male peers from what was done 12 months ago.
Well, you look at Adair. Adair were Limerick champions in 2022. Intermediate champions in 2022. And they took this competition by storm, reaching all the way, winning the Munster Championship, travelling to Ruislip in London to win the quarter-final and only losing in the semi-final. So that will give you an idea of the level that Limerick Camogie is at. And I saw Monaleen this year, and I was hugely impressed by him. They beat what I thought was a very decent, a good Croke Kilfinney team in the county final, and were worthy winners. And I think they're going to be formidable. Now, Camogie and Waterford is very strong at the moment. They're living still on the oxygen of reaching the All-Ireland final for the first time in 78 years. But I'm feeling in Ballyo'Gran that Monaleen will be that little bit too strong and will progress. Let me put it to you this way, Tom. If they replicate the form and the performance that they had in the county intermediate final, they would be very happy to beat.
Yeah, well, very good. Well, hopefully they can reach those levels again, and we'll have another Limerick team in a provincial decider at the end of this weekend. Matt, we'll just switch now to schools action, and maybe Harty Cup is something we haven't mentioned. Great, I think this year you'd agree, Matt, to see no fewer than 4 Limerick schools at the top table of, I suppose, boys or men's schools. The competition now that's fully gone to under 19 level. At the time of speaking, which is just late on Wednesday evening, the results are in. John the Baptist recovered to progress. They were 11 points down at one stage in Feathered against. Sorry, I'm just looking at my results here. Carrick-on-Shore, yeah, CBS. And this is a group of 3, which also involves Castletroy. So they rescued a losing position. They get the draw. That puts them onto 3 points. They top the group. They eliminate the Tipperary men, and they also bring their compatriots over in Castletroy through with them, because Castletroy were pending on that result if they were going to get through or not. So John the Baptist win the group with 3. Castletroy with 1 win are through, and the Tipperary lads are out. So good to see those 2 schools back at the top table, and also good to see them into the knockout stages. We'll look at the other schools in a minute, but just from that group, great to see John the Baptist dig that one out and get the draw they needed.
Yeah, absolutely fantastic. They're back in the Harty Cup this year. It's not too long ago since they were in it, and was it a semi-final that they lost to Thurles after a replay? Was it 2017 when they won 5 All-Irelands in 18 days? The All-Ireland Senior B hurling, the All-Ireland Senior A and Junior A ladies football, and the All-Ireland Senior and Junior C Camogie Championship, which was phenomenal. So there's a great tradition of sport in the school, and I'll be mentioning something else about it later. But yeah, it's good to see John the Baptist, their squad. I have details of their squad here, and they have a very, very promising squad, and I would be expecting, you know, it was very well in the last, it's last six, they're through to the last 16 now. That's right, Tom, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. I think that it's kind of a convoluted system. Some of the group winners are through to the quarterfinals, and more of the teams who are finishing as group winners and second are in a kind of it's a preliminary quarterfinal anyway. I think it's down to 16, yeah. And then that's going to be played before Christmas. So we'll be getting towards the business end of it anyway. It's a very much an expanded Harty Cup this year, Matt. I think I'm not sure the exact number. It's upwards of 20 teams in it anyway. Which is phenomenal.
We need Einstein to understand it, but
yeah. There's groups of 4 and groups of 3 anyway. I did have a handle on it a few weeks ago, but such as the volume of games gone out of my head. But nevertheless, they're in the knockout hurling.
The bottom line is, Tom, that we had four schools starting out of it, and after the group stages, 3 are still standing: Ardscoil, Reach, John the Baptist, and Castletroy College. Unfortunately, Scullin and Trinad, Doon are out of the competition. And we also have a one on the border, Charleville, who have a very limited Limerick representation, unusually this year. They're also through.
Yeah, so just to Middleton had defeated Doon today to win all their games in that group. Middleton 117, Doon 116. So Doon, I think, needed a win and probably needed a favour or two here or there, but they couldn't get their own side of the bargain done. Ardscoil Reach defeated De La Salle of Waterford 24 points to 1-8, I should say. Good at both ends of the field there, but it sounds like 14 points, I think, in the second half for the men on the Ennis Road. They're, of course, littered with stars around the county, and indeed some from over in our neighbours there in the Banner. So they go from strength to strength. No surprise that they're in the business end of the championship from that group, but we'll see what the fixtures throw up when the permutations are done for the knockout phases. But as Matt says, 3 of the 4 Limerick schools progressing. Castletroy, led by Liam Rail. I think we've involved with John the Baptist is Paul Brown is involved as a coach there, and I know Mark Keane is involved with Castletroy as well. So guys that have served Limerick get across different guises and different grades, really giving back to the school scene as well now. So great to see that as well, and we'll see who they paired up with in the knockout phases in the coming weeks. Matt, you did mention a throwback to a previous success, an All-Ireland title won back in the late 80s up the road from me here in hospital, and it was with a celebration to mark that last weekend. You just wanted to touch on that there.
Yeah, there was I was invited to a very, very nice function on Saturday evening in John the Baptist School and Hospital. It was a reunion of the hurling teams of 1987-88 and 88-89 of the Presentation de l'Escale School and Hospital, which is the forerunner of now John the Baptist School. And they won the All-Ireland. First of all, they won the Keane Cup and they won the Munster in one year, and followed it up the following year by winning the Munster and the All-Ireland Senior B Championship. And most of the from that era were there. I suppose the most notable that was there on the night was Frankie Carroll, who was very well known in Limerick circles. But sadly, on the night there was one very, very familiar individual missing, and it was the late PJ Garvey. And his wife and his 2 sons, both of whom won county medals with Mungret in the last couple of weeks, Connor and James, were present on the evening. And in a very touching moment, Tom Cahill Ryan, who was one of those spearheading the reunion on the night, presented the number 12 jersey, presentation jersey, to that PJ wore with such great distinction in his days in Presentation College or Presentation de la Salle. They presented the jersey frame to his 2 sons, which was a lovely touch, but a very, very moving moment. But that was, that was absolutely fantastic. And I suppose therein lies the tradition, and they set a standard, and those players and those men now, who were there in large numbers, and people and connections travelled from Donegal, from Mayo. The former principal, Brother Raymond, travelled all the way from Dublin on the evening. So it was a lovely, lovely evening. And, as I said, they sowed the seeds of a tradition of great sport that continues literally to a few hours ago in John the Baptist School, because it was in 2017, I think they won the All-Ireland B colleges for the second time. And there's a great sporting ethos in John the Baptist School. And it was great to see the origins of it, Tom, laid bare there on Saturday night, and which was a very, 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 very nice function. And full credit to Cathal Ryan, Frankie Carroll, Michael Ryan, and John McCarthy, who were the four organisers, kind of a subcommittee that brought the people, that brought so many players together. It was a night, a night of celebration, reminiscing, tinged with sadness. The loss that PJ Garvey, who was one of their key players, probably their marquee player, he was missing, but he certainly wasn't forgotten on the night. His wife Sheila and his two sons were there, and his two sons, as I said, accepted the framed number 12 jersey that he wore with such distinction with Presentation College. And it just was a lovely evening, lovely thought. And, let's hope that in the current Harty Cup series that John the Baptist will make further history.
Yeah, absolutely. And a nice way to finish this week's podcast. And it sounded like a superb event, and hopefully we'll see more of these around the place with different clubs and schools marking their former stars, and as you say, Matt, the men who paved the way for future generations. So I suppose that's where we'll leave our podcast this week. Thanks very much for joining us. Thanks again to Matt, and we'll chat to you very soon.
The impression again we get out with what you put into it's like a walk of life. If you're good enough, go out and get it, no more about it.
Not so much control in the centre of the field from Kilkenny as Richie Bennett sends it high and over the bar.
Your mother sends you down to the shop for a pound's worth of goods, and she gives you 50 pence. You can't get the pound's worth of goods, can you?
Just about kept in. Oh, well done, Shawnee Buckley. To do that to Tomas O'Shea, he deserves to score from here. One of the highlights of the Sunday game.
Limerick went out there from the word court today. No more about it. They made all the run, that was it. Put the ball over the bar and the back of it, and that's it. No ifs, no buts.
Is there much time left? We've had a couple of injuries. Here comes Kieran Carey. Carey leading the charge of the right brigade. 45 metres out. He's a chance to score. He's put it high. He's put it over.
There's no sympathy in this game for anybody.